So in this video we're talking about this new Legend Rarity and the problems that can, come from this update. So with this update it does look, overall pretty good, but to me there is a few big things about this which I don't really like, which obviously will affect, the future of summons mainly in general. So looking at this from a whole, it is good. Obviously the art style's looking better, the animation's looking top tier. This personally is a good idea, the different illustrations, but I don't like it as well because they're forcing you to summon, which, obviously Legends is a gacha game, they want you to keep summoning, which is good in a way for them, but when you look at it, the big thing that I don't like is down here, right? So as you can see, it's got going forward in Legends, they're basically going to make Legends and Ultra Rarities basically like the main focus of the game, right? So the way I'm interpreting that, which I think is what they're meaning, is every LF slot that we have, because when you think about, we have usually, on average, 2 LFs a month, then maybe an Ultra. So when you look at it this way, they're saying we're going to get 2 new Legend units, right, a month, and potentially an Ultra, or 3 Legend units, which it is good. Like I said, it's good when you look at it that way. But the thing that I don't like is the banners, right? Now, what I mean by that is the banners are pretty much exactly like something an Ultra banner, right? And Ultra banners, they're dog shit. Like, you're not going to get really anything good from it. So, for example, the lineup for an Ultra banner here is, how many LFs do we have? We're, 4 LFs, I think, which is pretty good. And then obviously the Ultra, which I think is the same with the LFs here. Not LFs, so the Legends here. So the 1% sparking we may not get on the next Legend banner. That's up in the air still. So same thing, 4 LFs and the Legend, right? But like they said, they're going to try and, push LFs out of the way sort of thing, right? Which, is automatically a weird situation to be in. So the way I look at it now, like I've done a few summons for Vegito. I think I'm roughly 55k CC. And I've only got 2 copies, right? Now obviously everyone will get different, different pulls and stuff like that. That's obviously normal. But the way I look at it is, so let's say this week coming up we should have, I think it's going to be a unique equipment and a Zenkai, right? Which obviously that's good, but then the week after, by the looks of it, will be another Legend unit, right? I have no clue what it's going to be. I'm recording this after they did announce some stuff, which it looks like Evo Ken, the LF ones, so let me just quickly pull it up, just to quickly show. I guess it's 2 videos in one, but these guys are getting, I think it was an equipment, I think I saw. So, to me, this could be hinting at Tournament of Power for potentially the next Legend unit, if they are going to do a Legend unit. But, like I said, the big issue that I'm looking at now is, are we going to have enough CC to keep summoning on these Legend banners? Because pity itself on these Legend banners is a little bit better than Ultras, so I will give it that, it is slightly better. But I think they did mention that it could change back. Let me just quickly go have a look. Was it this one here? They did say it. Yeah, so it says for this initial release they may not have this 500 drop thing, which they've said this before with Ultra banners, so I'm not going to be too surprised if it goes away for the next banner and then comes again for a future banner. That very well could happen. But if not, let's say the next Legend unit doesn't have any pity, is it going to be worth it? Because like I said, they are pushing these Legend units to be, rivals with Ultras. So you basically, to be able to run, teams in the meta in the future, you have to summon not nearly, but most Legend banners coming up. Unless the Legend is terrible, which I highly doubt they're going to make them terrible, because they're going to have to keep them up the same sort of tier as this Vegito now, because this Vegito is probably, easily number 1 best unit in the game. Top 3 easily. So when you look at it, if they're going to keep pushing out these Legend banners, which, like I said, they are terrible banners to summon on, is it worth to keep pushing this in the future of Legends? Unless they change the banners massively, or they give it heaps of CC, then I don't think there's going to be a good change for the future, right? So I can't put it up now, but with the old Legend banners, I say old now because they technically are old, we used to have summon exchange coins, right? which obviously there you could get LFZ power, guaranteed pity, tickets, stuff like that. But with this unit legend banner, you don't get any of that. So you do get Z2 medals, which is normal. That's pretty much it, because the thing with this pity is, once you hit your pity target, so if you get Vegito before you hit pity, you don't get that free pity copy, which is just incredibly stupid. You know, especially because they want you to chase these dupes, because like, hey, you want this really cool Vegeta artwork, you're gonna have to keep summoning, which obviously is good for them because they make more money, but in the downside for the player base, it's just a horrible design with trashy banners. So the only other thing I can think of that Legends could do to sort of, I guess, save themselves from hitting this downward spiral they could potentially hit is, let's say for example, we drop it down to 1 Legend unit and 1 Ultra unit a month, which, yet again, it does sound incredibly stupid to have 2 units release a month. But at the same time, if they drop, you know, like it's potentially could be, by the way I'm reading it, is this week we get a break, next week brand new Legend unit, then probably week break, Legend unit, stuff like that. So are we going to have enough CC to be able to go through all this, especially for free play players? Because if not, because I think pity for these banners here, for Legend ones, if they keep the same pity system, I think it's 45 to 50k CC, around that margin, which for me, for pity, that's okay. It could be obviously a lot better, but at least there's pity, so you're guaranteed to get a copy, you know, if you're getting shafted. But for free play players, you're not going to be able to get that amount of CC for at least a few weeks, or a few months really. So that's what I mean, like, unless they drastically change, you know, how they're going to do these from now on, I just don't see this being a good idea pushing forward. Unless for the next Legend banner, because like they said, this is obviously a trial banner, I guess you could call it, to sort of see how the players react, you know, for feedback and stuff like that. Personally, the best way they could fix this is add tickets to these Legends banners, and obviously keep the pity as well, but maybe put the pity as the medals, and then maybe have it like, because I think it was 50 medals you needed for a guaranteed copy. Well, yeah, guaranteed pity copy, so they can make it like 35 medals maybe. So, like I said, I just don't see this being a good input for the game unless they do have some sort of, you know, plan or schedule they're not showing us yet, which very well could happen. But like I said, even if they fixed it and made it so only 2 new units drop, you know, probably each month, roughly, is that going to be good for the game? Because we're going to have so many dead weeks where it's not going to keep the players very active, because it's just going to be very boring. Like this week, you know, like I said, it looks like only 2 equipments, which is cool, but it's not enough content unless they're going to bring out more events, which the events section is pretty, you know, pretty boring as well. There's a few cool raids in that, but other than that, there's not much to do. So I honestly don't know how the future of Legends is going to look if they keep this sort of mindset, because the way I'm looking at it is they're not really focused on the player base at all. They're just mainly focused on the money, which obviously makes sense. They're a business and they got to do that, but focusing on that and not your player base, where obviously your player base is where you get your money from, is just very dumb in my opinion. So I just don't know what the future Legends is going to look like, but I'll probably do another video about this in a few months time, probably close to anniversary. But like at the moment, I probably wouldn't recommend free play players, after this banner goes away, I wouldn't recommend people summoning on Legends banners, well, a Legend banner, for probably close to anniversary, because you're going to need all your CC you can get. Because let's say for example, I mean, yeah, that's another thing as well, if anniversary they do 2 Legend units, because they usually do 2 LFs, that means for minimum pity, you're going to need like over 80k to 90k CC just to guarantee to get these copies of these Legends units. So you can sort of see my concerns now, like how much CC you need for these units, and if they're going to pump out these Legend units with these ridiculous banners, it's just not going to be a good look for the game, because a lot of people probably stay away from it unless they start adding tickets or Legend Z power as well. You know, for example, since you get a lot of, where is it real quick? These ones here, so the star tickets, they could have Legend Z power here. Obviously, you got, you know, LF Z power, but like, or LR Z power. Let's call it LR Z power. If I add LR Z power into here, that will make it a lot better for me to recommend people to summon. But like at the moment, is it worth wasting all your Chrono Crystals for these units? For Vegito, yes. But remember, by the way they're wording it, is every LF in the game we got now, they're probably going to redo again into Legend units. So go LF real quick. So obviously the first one, Super Vegito, but then you got the rest that potentially we'll see in the future. They'll just get remastered into a Legend unit, which it's cool. Like it does give the game, what's the word, like a mini revamp to these LFs. Like Beerus, for example, he's most likely going to get a Legend unit when Dragon Ball Super Remake starts. So that's obviously going to be very cool. But that's the same thing. That's another minimum 45 to 50k CC you need to try and potentially get a guaranteed pity copy of them. And with the rates of these banners, you know, the banners themselves aren't really worth it. You know, you look at these LFs here. Are you using many of these in PvP? Probably not. Like, especially Super Vegeta, you're going to use this one. So, but yeah, that's basically my main concern with these LFs is I'm very scared to see how it's going to look in the future if they're going to keep pumping out these Legends units. Like, yes, they're cool and all that sort of stuff, but if players don't have enough CC to summon for these units, or at least try and get one copy, you know, is this really the way to go in the future? Because LF banners had a lot better chance, obviously, to get the new unit, where this one, it's slightly better than getting an Ultra, so I guess that's good in a way. But like I said, if they're going to keep pumping out these banners, it's just, I don't think it's going to be very good for the future of Legends. But like I said, this is obviously the first one, and like I said, this is my early opinion of what could happen to Legends. But you know, as long as I listen to the community and the feedback, I think we'll be fine. But at the moment, I'm a little bit skeptical in this update. So yeah, that's going to be it for today's video, guys. Leave a comment down below what you guys think about these Legend characters, if you think they're a great update to the game, if you think they need revamping in terms of the banners or stuff like that. And if you guys like this video and you want to see more, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.